Hi guys, how are you? This is gonna be a short episode. I literally got the some back aware belts back and they are not working. So I have to send them to the app developers and hope to God they can kind of work something out. So I need to get them wrapped up and get all my videos done of like what's kind of like the engineer says they're working. So I'm gonna have to like get him to make up a couple of extra units and just go out to him. He lives close by in Kilkenny, so I can actually, it's handy. We can go out, and then the app developers are in Eastern Europe, so we'll ship them 2 units that we have, and they're getting shipped tomorrow. So yeah, perseverance. It's a crazy thing. You just look, I like you got to enjoy the process of things, otherwise you'd like, because the thing you'll find is that like the lows will kind of get you, and then the highs aren't that high. Like they're great, and they go to so like I look, I enjoy the process. Obviously, things like this are frustrating. You're losing like thousands and hundreds of thousands, but look, I keep, I don't know, I just keep plowing on. I'm just never stopping on this. I'm like, I'm just gonna see it out. I don't care. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how long it'll be. I'm getting it done. But anyway, okay, so I had no questions this week. Nobody's on this. this this is a real Debbie Downer one. But so I was like, what the hell am I going to, as I said, I've been working on this back aware belt. We're just working on a new like sensor. I will look, and then I'm wondering, is it not flexible enough? So um just have to chat to a different designer we have for that and get them working on. But look, um such is life. So I'll get back to that straight away after this. But so all I was going to talk about then was the main thing I was looking at was speed work, right? And it's funny. Why do you need speed if you're doing like 5Ks, 10Ks, etc.? Or why do you need speeds doing 800, 1500 meters if you're going down low? Everybody thinks the speed is for the end of the race, and it really isn't. Okay, obviously the sprint at the end lasts like 50 or 100, but if you're doing a 5K, really, what the speed is, you need speed so that the start of the race doesn't feel like you're sprinting. Okay, so let me say that again. It's not the start, it's not the end of the race you need your kick finish. You need speed so that the start of the race does not feel like you are sprinting. Okay. If you've done nothing but distance work, then when you go into a 5K, and this has happened to me, I was doing a lot of aerobic work, building a good engine, which is really an essential part. But I went into the races, and then I was running like say 67 seconds per 400 meters, which is like 14-minute dead pace. So it should be easy to work out, like say a 252 K. And I had been doing all my threshold at that time was maybe like 310, yeah, kind of 310, 315 K, like kind 510, 515 pace. So all of a sudden you're trying to go from like running 315s to running 252 or 250 per K. So like 20, 25 seconds quicker. It's just too much of a jump. So um yeah, it wasn't like I could always sprint the last 200. And then why I'm saying that is strides are important because they really help with your fluidity and the running mechanics. So you do need strides, but especially if you're a neuromuscular athlete, you need to stay in touch a little bit with the you need to stay in touch a little bit with um the actual paces that you're going to be running. Now, so you have two two main faults I see then. The first one is that they don't do any of that work. Okay. You might do some strides, which I think everybody should be doing. They're really important. And then it's all LT work, AT work, easy running, and just jumping into races. Or you have the opposite where people then are going too fast. So say their speed work would be like 200s very fast. Say like their 1500-meter pace, really, or maybe even their 800-meter pace, if they would be honest. Like, could they keep it going for 800 meters? Maybe not. Um, and again, that doesn't the speed work we need, that doesn't actually equate that well. That's more like your strides, which is good for running economy, but it's not getting you comfortable running the pace. So again, as I said, what we really need our speed work for is at the start of the race to feel comfortable. So the work that you need mostly is to be running at or a bit slower than that pace. So I've said this before, and I've just started it back again. That's what's got me thinking about it. Is um I started like I'll do sessions here again. So it'll be like 10 minutes at zone three. Then we'll do 8 or 10 400ths of 45 seconds at 10K pace. Say for me, that's like 73 seconds per 400. So say roughly like 3:02 pace um per K. Now, now if I'm running, say a 255 or a 256 pace per um uh, in a in a 5K on the road, that's not that big a jump. You know, if you've been running 73s and you've been now asked to run 70s or 69, say, for a road race, that's only 4 seconds. That the differential there, it's like if I was running in the other example, I'm running like 78, 79 seconds per 400, and now I have to run 68, 69s. It's like 10 seconds per 400. As I said, it's nearly 20 seconds per a K. You know, if you've been running 302, 303 pace, even for shorter distances, that's not a big jump to go back down to 255. That's 8 seconds per K faster. And as well, then you got to think on race day, you'll have more adrenaline. You'll probably have your caffeine in. You know, you'll be you're just more pumped. So like the equivalent pace, you'll be faster by a few seconds just on the adrenaline and the fact that it's a race. You've tapered for it, etc. So just the main takeaway there is in your training, I think for any kind of athlete, um, make sure that you have some kind of rhythm work. And rhythm work is not sprinting. Rhythm work is going at or slightly slower than the pace that you're going to be trying to go in the races. You know, short recovery 400s, a little bit longer recovery 600s. Because, as I said, we use this speed. What gets you through the end is your aerobic engine. It's like how fit you are. But the start, to get to there, if it doesn't feel comfortable at the start, it feels like you're sprinting. That's telling me you haven't done one enough strides just to get the legs turning, and two, you haven't practiced that pace. So the other thing I would say with that then is when doing those reps, say if you're doing a 400, you have to consciously not go out slow, don't go out fast. What do I mean by that? Say you're going to do an 80 second. Say for you, like 320 would be your 5K pace. So you're going to, if 320s are what you'd actually run for a 5K, I'd probably be doing the 400s in like 325 pace, you know, so maybe like 82 seconds, you know, like, yeah, kind of 330, 325. And it's close enough. You'll be surprised that feeling on the track into races will be the same. The other thing with this is that like um with uh with the race, sorry, yeah, with the race when you're like I said, when the adrenaline's going, it'll be going naturally faster. Now, if in training, say you're let's say we're going to do 82-second 400s, then we're we're doing 320s on the track, You don't need to hit 320 pace. You don't need to hit 80 seconds per 400. I've mentioned the track. If you can at all, using a track or using somewhere where you know the distance is massive because a lot of times you'll go faster than you think when you're on the road or it's just hard. Like, yeah, you'll go kind of faster. Where if you have a track, you'll nearly be surprised of like, oh, that's actually not like I'm not having to kill myself to get, and then it's accurate. And you can try. Really, what we're trying to do is get relaxed at these paces. Um, so say we're doing 82s. Again, we're trying to do it on the track rather than just randomly picking a distance. On the road or not having it. Now, if you don't have it, I would still do 80 seconds at what I feel is 5K pace or 10K pace. Then I would don't so that's going to be like say 20 to 21 seconds per 100. Loads of people go out at 17 seconds or 18. They're kind of like pushing at the start. And then rather than going through in like 40 or 41, they end up going through in like 36, 37. And then they kind of have to slow down. So it's like they're never really practicing the actual pace that they're running because they're doing the first half maybe too fast and then the second half kind of slowing down to kind of balance it back out. So consciously try not to go super fast. Try go through like, and if you are going to pick up a bit, it's better to pick up the last bit. You know, you say it'd be better to go through in like 42, even though you're going to try run a 42 and come home in a 40, than going out in like a 40 and coming home in a coming jogging home in 42. Okay. Ideally, you go 41, 41 as you get your rhythm because then you've spent a long time practicing the actual, like, this is how it is. This is where I'm comfortable breathing and I'm going through. Yeah. So I think kind of some rhythm work in the 6 week coming up to a race is really important. If you can get to a track, definitely. And then depending on the type of runner you are, there's two main types of runners. There's an aerobic type runner. An aerobic type runner does better with just maybe mainly aerobic work. Zone 3, zone 4, very little track work. Because their benefit is they have a big aerobic engine and but they can zap out their nervous system quite quickly. So for that person, you want to be doing zone 3, zone 4 sessions, a lot of some strides, and then just rhythm work. And you want to leave it at that. How do you know you're aerobic type runner? Well, you will normally do pretty well in your first race and then kind of maintain that throughout it. Or you might then like start to flag if you do too many races because that nervous system tax kind of gets on you. The other type of runner is a neuromuscular runner. Neuromuscular runner, they generally would have been like shorter distances when they were younger. Normally do better in as the races progress. So maybe their first race isn't great, second race gets a bit better, the third and fourth races can be even better again. If you're that type of runner, you need to actually practice the pace that you're going to run because your nervous system nearly needs. I'm a neuromuscular runner. I need to get kicked into gear. So my first races are always poor, because I just kind of need to get kicked into gear. I need to kind of experience what that is. So again, though, that's not me saying then to do loads of speed, as in loads of like flat out 200s. But I'll need to do. Everybody should neuromuscular aerobic. You should have your strides. You should be doing at least one session aerobically, and 6 weeks in, even for the aerobic runner, I'd be still saying get to the track, do some of that rhythm work. That's not going to fry the nervous system. That's just getting you used to it, especially if you go a little bit conservative, like shorter recoveries, just getting a rhythm that feels comfortable. So then when you go out with that pace, you're like, yeah, I'm used to this. For your neuromuscular runner, they should they need about 3 weeks out to start doing some longer reps at the actual pace that they're doing. Okay, so one for me, I love like 4 by a mile at between 5K and 10K pace. Four by a mile off 2 minutes at 5K pace is too hard. Four by a mile off 2 minutes at 10K pace is a little bit too easy. So we're going to Goldilocks it and just kind of hit the middle porridge there, somewhere in between your 5K and your 10K pace. Now, that's your 5K or 10K pace, like what you think you'll run right now. So for example, when I'm on the track, I've ran like 29:50 for 10K, but I'm not in 29:50 10K shape now. I'm in like 31 minutes for 10K shape. So I just adjusted. So before you'd be doing 71, 72s, now I'm doing like 73s. Maybe a couple of 74s, a couple of 72s if I'm a little bit slower or faster. Um, because that's kind of, yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, so I'm not just taking off my best ever 10K. I'm kind of taking off where I am now. And I would do the same now if I was doing the 4 by a mile. Yeah, so that type of session, like a pyramid type, like 1,000 meters at 5K pace, 800 meters at 5K pace, with a lap jog, like longer recovery now. So don't feel like you have to, because while we do a longer recovery, so if I was doing 1,000 meters at 5K pace, now that would actually be at the 5K pace, or 1,200 meters, like at 5K pace. That's a long time at 5K pace. That's a hard rep. Like the middle, if you do 3 laps at 5K pace, the middle lap is going to feel horrible because you still know I got another lap to go, but I got to stay relaxed and stay hitting these. On the last lap, you kind of have it in your head. It's like, look, I can start sprinting if I need to. I'll take a whole lap jog, like 3 minutes off, and then I'll do 1,000 meters at 5K pace, a lap jog, because the rep is hard enough as it is. I don't need to have like that, like short recovery, smack these out. These are more longer reps to get, again, it's helping with the start of the race so that when we go and we're breathing heavy and the middle of the race as well, those ones do help. So I go maybe 1,200, 1,000, 800, 600, start picking it up, and I might shorten recoveries as I go. So it might be 1,200, 3 minutes break, 1,000, 3 minutes break, 800, and then I might even just go 2 minutes break, 600, 90 seconds break, 400, and I might leave it at that, or I might do a 200 30 seconds break, or 200 with a 50-second jog of 200, and then hit a 400, sorry, 50-second jog of 200, and then hit the next one, hit last 200. So yeah, what you're doing there is the longer reps are getting you used to it. And what you'll find is in the middle of a race, then you'll also be like, oh my God, remember the neuromuscular athlete needs to know, you need to click into some kind of feeling. And I get the best in races, so, or in training, that if I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying, but I'd be like, yeah, but remember you were dying in that session, and you you thought like you couldn't go faster, say on that 800, but you got to through that 800, and then you jogged your 2 minutes, and then you got through the 600, and then the 400 actually felt okay, and the 200 was okay. You can kind of click into that, and what you'll find is you're out running at the start, and you're like, okay, this feels like when I did that 1,200. I'm just getting into a good flow, a good rhythm, and then the 1,000 felt like kind of like this as well, and all of a sudden you're halfway through the race. Okay, so short and sweet. As I said, I got like I feel like I'm winded right now with this freaking back aware belt. I feel like I literally got punched in the gut. But look, I'm hoping if we send it to the boys, the app guys are really good. They'll look at the code. That I think the sensor is given the right information. It's just how the engineers are like transferring it over to it is not working as well as it should. So look, they'll at least have the new sensors. I'm going to get the engineer to make up two more, and I'm going to go out to him tomorrow and start messing around and see what is what. We'll be able to order other stuff quite quickly to get it. They were working for him, so maybe it is the phone, but again, that shouldn't be happening because we need him to be working with all the phones. But look, um, yeah, so I just need to fix that and then send out the units to the boys. Summarizing what we were doing, speed work isn't for the end of the race, it's for the start of the race. It's for feeling comfortable at the pace that you're going to be going out on. That's why we do speed work. So if that's why we do speed work, you have to do work that replicates that. And that is rhythm work. It's 400 meters, 600 meters, 800 meters at the pace that you're going to be running or slightly slower with shorter recoveries that allow you to just get in the feel of how you're going to run. So it's not forcing and sprinting hard. It's just getting used to race pace or around race pace. And then that then allows you to adapt and it allows you to, in the race, not feel like you're absolutely sprinting. So if you're someone who is constantly doing threshold work, zone two or zone three work, just go like 10 minutes of the zone three work, try do like 2K work, like 2 miles or 2K worth of like 400-meter reps at the pace, with maybe a 45-second recovery, and then you can finish off with a little bit of zone three or zone four work. And doing a little bit of that, especially coming up to races, like 6 weeks out at least, will make the race feel so much smoother at the start, which allows you to get in comfortable and get you moving. Okay. Hope you got something out of that, and best of luck. I will talk to you next week. If anyone have any questions, bang them in. I love answering any questions you have. If anyone ever wants to come on and talk about their training, we can go through it like literally write out your plan online. It'd be brilliant. Okay, thanks, mate. Take care.